when it comes to measurements again, what I have here is I'm just going to show you shower head, if it's going to be a shower head on there. So here again, there's the center. We have a mark here. We'll take that away, and what we're looking is our measurement from our square corner to the center. So we measure from that side, and we can measure from the bottom up to the center mark, and that will give us our hole. And you can use a hole saw, which is it has a drill and a cutting blade, and you can get them from Mitre 10 stores, Bunnings, and they will go straight through the acrylic. So pretty easy to cut holes in. This is a sample piece. So what we're going to show you here is what we were doing up the top for the shower outlet, for your actual shower head. So there's a sample of what we're going to be cutting out for the hole. So we're actually going to be measuring and checking your measurements. So that's 425, always to the center, and 310. Now we know that's exactly what we want, and we've checked it from the wall to our panel. We hold our and make a mark. This hole saw has a bit of clearance, so always remember to have a bit of clearance on your hole to allow for the plumber to do his thing. So there we have our hole. We can mark our center. It's very important when drilling an acrylic that we allow a clearance hole. We always need to allow a clearance hole. So I'm going to show you when you're drilling on the sides, or you're going to attach any aluminium to the if you're going to attach any aluminium or a U-channel, or want any sort of fixing to fix the acrylic to the wall, it's important that you have a clearance hole while you're drilling it through. So I'm going to drill through now, and then I'm going to show you, you can go from a 1/8 upwards, and it just ensures that it doesn't crack. So you've always got freedom for the screw to go in, whatever size screw you're using. Okay, we're just going to drill through right on the center where our mark is. As you see, it's very easy to drill. Very easy to drill. So we've gone through a one size drill bit. Now we'll go up another size, just to ensure that we've actually give that screw a little bit of clearance. We'll just go through again. Don't have to be push hard, it's just gently go through it. You can check with our screw now to make sure it does go through. And there's plenty of room. There you go. Now we're going to drill a hole with a hole saw to allow for the shower outlet. Handy to have that hole already there, so we can actually put our drill bit straight into it. And you can see there, virtually center. I like to do that. Get it started first, just get it started first, and then as you'll see, with the hole saw, it's nice clean cut all the way through. So you've allowed plenty, as I show you, for your outlet, for your shower head. We've now cut the hole for the outlet for the shower head. And when it comes to splashback, especially in kitchens, we're going to have power points, and it's important when we're measuring a power point to always work from one side of your splashback to the centre of that power point. Sometimes there's one power point, there's two power points, and then always ensure that you measure right to the centre. So I'm just going to show you on this here now. So what I'd be doing is measuring from the side. Sometimes, most power points have a cover, and it's a real advantage. So sometimes I will mark the centre there and the centre there. I would actually do it by measurement. So there it is there, centre 300. And then mark with texture. That's the outside measurement of your power point. These new power points are really good because they will allow us to show what we actually need to cut out. So when I remove that, we know we'll still have cover, and we haven't cut too much, so that allows for our cutout. Always remember from here, you can do it again. Measurement check, 300, 200, right on the centre. That's very important. And another thing that's very important is this outside mark. We always leave what we're going to cut. A mistake a lot of people do is go to the wrong line. So by simply wiping that off, we know that is the area to be cut out, and we'll still have plenty of clearance. Before we actually adhere our sheets to the wall, it's important to trial. The sheet we know is the size, we've made it, we've got to cut the size, we've checked all our measurements, and now before we actually put silicone on the back to adhere it to our walls, we try it. So it's very important to make sure it fits in the hole, because once you've got the silicone on, once you have the silicone on it, it'll be very hard to get it back out again. As you see there, lovely fit to the wall. So we can check our edges. We can see here, I'm just going to go down, I can just show you this. We have a slight gap here, so all we need to do is just push that over, and now we have a nice clean finish. Okay, so now that we've trialled our acrylic into the wall, it's important. Sure, it all just sits nice, it pushes back, there's nothing holding it or obstructing it. Beautiful. So now we need to, especially for a shower, we need to ensure that there's enough space at the bottom to silicone it and make sure we have a really good seal. That is very important. So we have some packers, which we just place there and there. We can pull our sheet out from the wall, slide the packers in. And when we're down here now, a nice area for plenty of silicone to get under. 3 mil to 4 mil should be adequate. And there you have it. Our wall's now ready to adhere. We're going to show you now how we actually adhere the acrylic to the wall. We use a non-aesthetic silicone, so it doesn't damage the paintwork. So there's lots of different silicones around. We do suggest, especially if you're using it in bathrooms, that you use a mold and mildew resistant silicone. I'm going to give you a little tip here. It's Very important. A lot of people ask why the silicone goes mouldy, and the reason it is it's the bacteria from your mouth or your hands. So it's very important not to touch the silicone. So what we do is we put the silicone on, and then we squirt it with either soapy water and use a scraper, but we never touch it with our hands. Even if we just do that one tiny bit with our finger, it will go mouldy in that one spot. So there's a secret. So I'm going to show you now how much we apply to the actual surface and how we actually do that. Here's our acrylic. We just cut a little angle off on the silicone nozzle. Again, when we're applying the silicone to our product, we squeeze it. How I do it, I like to put little blobs, just like that. Again, keeping it slightly away from the edge so it doesn't ooze over the edge, but giving it structural strength. So generally a little bit like that. It actually acts as a suction cup. When doing a shower or anything like this around where the shower head and the plumbing would be, I generally, to give you a sample, would actually silicone in a circle to ensure no leakage. So there we have it. Again, just little patches here and there. And the reason we do this, because if the plaster's not straight or at a square, we know that by being out a little bit further, and when we push it in, it's going to act as a suction cup, so it's going to come out, so it'll always fit. So there you have your application for putting the silicone on. So now we've tried our acrylic sheet in the hole. We've ensured it fits. This sheet here is in our showroom, so we haven't got the hole in here for the shower head, but you will be able to put yours in and allow for the taps to your measurement. So now that we've siliconed the back, as I've shown you, with our blobs of silicone, just to ensure we get a good strong fixing. We then place our sheet, lift it up, we can see our packers. We know that that bottom edge there needs to slide over that way a little bit. And we can proceed now to push our sheet back. And then we grab where it's siliconed, and we just make sure we ensure we get that good clean, make sure it's in at the bottom. And the silicone's adhered all over. And there we have our sheet fitted. Okay, we're now ready to put our second sheet on. What I'm going to show you now is how to adjust your sheet if it is out of square. The sheet's against the wall here now. I'll show you down below. We have the same packers that were on the other side. We have a 6mm packer there, the 6mm packer here. Just going to show you here how much out of square it is. It's important to have this sheet here and this sheet here level. So just by adjusting it, by putting a packer under, taking that one out, sliding down, our join then becomes flush and even all the way through. And we leave our packers on and down the bottom. Once we have it all squared, we leave the packers in there until the silicone sets. And then overnight, the next day you can pull your packers out, remove them, and then do your finish on the bottom silicone and the sides. And there you have it. Okay, now we're going to install our second sheet. Ensure the wall is dust free so the silicone will adhere to the wall. We have checked our measurements, so we will lift it a little bit higher so we can see our packers, keeping it a distance away from the wall and just sliding it slowly to its finished position. So I will take it there, ensuring it goes to that packer, which gives us the exact gap that we want for our silicone work. And then from there, we've already adhered the silicone to our sheet. We now allow it to go back in, making sure we push all the silicone all the way through, and we feel here, and we can check our join at the top, and that's flush. Nice, clean, meeting each other. The silicone's still wet, so you do have time to maneuver it and adjust it to suit. So there we have it. We have our walls now fitted. We're now going to seal the acrylic. Another reminder not to touch the silicone with your hands, then you won't get mould on it. Okay, I'm just going to show you, and what we need to ensure is that we put plenty of silicone in to make a good seal. So I'm going to show you a procedure here that I do that makes it so much easier for the home handyman. Before we start siliconing, it's important, this is what I use. It's a piece of plastic, it has a rounded edge just there, and we actually use that to actually place on the edge and scrape our excess silicone off. Some soapy water, just a bit of dishwashing liquid and some water. You can use window cleaner, anything like that. When using silicone, toilet rolls are always handy. As well as another good tip, as soon as you've wiped your nozzle with the silicone, put it straight into a bag so it doesn't get on your tiles. When I'm doing a nozzle, I cut the nozzle to the size of the gap. So this here is allowed for that 3mm gap. And I cut it on an angle, so when I place it down, like so, it's sitting flush. Plus it gives me a bit of adjustment. Now I'm just going to pump it in. Just taking my time and nice even pressure all the way through.